Hey everyone, this is Lene, and you're listening to The Lene Show. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to me tonight. I really appreciate it. Today's episode is titled Personal Therapy. Guys, that's what this is going to be for me today. Personal therapy. One of the reasons why I started this podcast was to talk about things that are going on in the world. You know, all types of stuff. But another reason why I started this podcast was to have an outlet where I can discuss things that are going on personally, whether it's, school, kids, work, partners, any of that stuff. To be able to have a place to really express yourself and hope that whoever's listening is either A, can resonate with it and say, hey, I'm going through that and it's good to hear someone else, or give positive feedback and say, hey, I went through that, or I'm not going through this, but hey, this is what I think. And so that's really what today's episode is going to be for me. It's going to be me really expressing the emotional, what's the word? Today was just a really hard day for me emotionally. And I feel like I didn't have anyone at that moment to discuss it with. And I do have people in my life that I can call who, and I'm very blessed that I can say that I have that. But just like everybody else, we all have something going on. With everything going on with Corona and the politics and just the world in general, these kids are at home, some people are working, some people aren't working. Everybody has stuff. That's what the podcast is for, because you're not going to always be able to get someone to drop what they're doing to really give you that ear that you need. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And so that's what I'm here for, guys. I'm here for you to be my ear. So, specifically for today, I felt like I was in a box, a cardboard box, all taped up, just in there trying to fight to get out, fighting to be heard. And unfortunately, as a lot of Black women, Spanish women, pretty much women of color, we know that when we express ourselves or we don't feel heard or we are passionate about the way someone or something is affecting us, people love to say that we're being combative, we're being argumentative, we're being too strong. It's like you want to start a fight. It's all of that. It's never anyone saying like, wow, she must really be hurting right now. Or wow, if this is how intense she is, I must have really done something. It's always a negative outlook when we express ourselves to anyone and, we're being aggressive. It's just always negative. There's never a positive when a Black woman says, hey, I don't like the way you're treating me. And the crazy thing about it for me is that is not even how it's initial, that is not how it started. There are conversations, there may be hints, there may be, maybe some passive aggressiveness, maybe, but there's usually in the beginning, there is a very soft and finessed way of us expressing ourselves and letting us know, hey, what you're doing is affecting me, or, what you're doing is starting to, make me feel like I have to then be another way. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's always it doesn't start out that way, but obviously with everyone, yes. But as a Black woman, I have to just stick to what it is with me specifically, and I know that I will give someone a chance. I know that I will, sometimes I don't even. I've had a bad habit in the past of not letting someone know, hey, I'm not okay with this. And that is something I learned going to, actual therapy with my therapist, that I let things go for a period of time, though it's bothering me. And then I get to a certain point where I'm so irritated that now, yes, it may seem like I'm being the aggressor, or I'm being the troublemaker, or I am being combative or argumentative, but it took it took a minute for me to get there. I just don't wake up and be there. You understand? And I feel like most people, and I can't speak for everyone, I'm just saying, I feel like most of us don't wake up there. Some people do. Some people are just miserable. But I'm just talking about majority of us, we're not miserable. We don't want to wake up miserable. We don't want to start the day miserable. But somehow, either A, we did not discuss an issue, or we did discuss an issue and the issue is still the same. There's no changed behavior. And so that is how I felt, particularly today. I felt like I have been expressing myself for an extended period of time, and I'm not being heard. Not only am I not being heard, but I'm also having my own personal trauma that has nothing to do with that particular person thrown in my face. And I'm sure that's something else that, Black women have to go through. But I'm sure many of you have gone through that as well. The fact of someone knowing your trauma or knowing things you've been through and then trying to use that against you when you address an issue that you have with them. And that to me is so, that's narcissistic behavior all by itself. But that is so hurtful, and it's so hard to deal with because it's like everybody has trauma, regardless of whether you had a great childhood, rich, poor, whatever. Every single person on this earth has had something that has shifted them and shaped them. And it doesn't always have to be something as dramatic, like let's say the most dramatic thing, like, maybe being raped as a child, or even raped as an adult, being molested, or maybe being robbed. You walked home one night and you got robbed. It could be something as small as a car accident. It could be something as big as losing your job and maybe being homeless. Everyone has something that has shaped and is possibly even a trigger. Now, if we're going to take accountability, I am pro therapy. I have been to therapy. I've started therapy at a young age because of childhood stuff that was going on, and I am all for it. I promise you that I am definitely in a way better headspace today than I can say I was 10 years ago because of me acknowledging that I have trauma. So that's self-accountability, right? So I acknowledge that I have things that has shaped me, that made me at one point, I will say angry, made me upset with the world, made me upset with God, made me upset with people. Like, yes, I have that, but I have addressed that stuff. Guys, listen to me. I have addressed that stuff. There is no perfect, though. Every day I have to consciously say to myself, hey, Lene, don't allow, the hard work that you have put in. And I have put in a ton of hard work. The hard work that I put in, the therapy, the journaling, the meditation, the self-care days. These are things that I do. I meditate. Before Corona, I was attending a Buddhist temple, and every Sunday I was doing, and it was 2 hours, basically like church, but it was for Buddhism. And when I tell you that Corona has completely, like everybody else, has just completely taken me off of my Zen, because I was on a Zen pre-Corona, which I'm sure not, by Zen, I mean, like I said, my life is not perfect. I have family stuff. I had stuff going on, but being able, just like, when you go to church, like everybody else, being able to go and do that and have that moment helped with my personal life. So I took the steps to better myself, to put myself in a better space for me personally. It doesn't have to be with everyone, because when you're happy with yourself, when you are in a better space, then it is so easy to be in a better space with others. And even if someone else is not in a good space, it's hard for them to bring you into that, because you're like, you know what? I'm in a good space and you're not. So I can't have this negative energy in my space until you acknowledge your energy and somehow want to fix and shape that. And with all that being said, this is why I'm saying it bothers me when you attempt to express something to someone that they are actively doing, their actions, their words, and yet they try to switch it and turn it and make it you're the issue. And then you're also a victim. Apparently you want to play victim, you don't want to acknowledge your own stuff, but that's not true. My thing is, if you hurt someone's feelings, you hurt their feelings. I mean, to me, it is not rocket science. It doesn't require you to pretty much think further than the fact of, hey, you did this. And one of the things I learned in therapy, which I have not been practicing recently, because I really am at a frustrating part, and I will take accountability for that, because I am not at this moment really in control of not wanting to wring someone's head off. I'm kind of at this point where I'm like, yo, like, I need you to really, so you got to shake them, like, I need you to listen to me. But one of the things that I learned in therapy was the I statement. So you can express yourself to someone without saying you, right? Because you automatically, according to my therapist, puts people on the defense. It makes people feel like, okay, you're about to come for me. And I get it. I can see it. I can say that I have said the you, and I have not been practicing that. But for those of you who have never been to therapy or don't know specifically what I'm talking about, it's, so for example, if I opened a door and you were standing behind me and I just let the door go, and that bothered you. That's something small, but I'm just using that as an example. So I opened the door, you were right behind me, and I shut the door. And so now you're upset. Not even upset, because like I said, it's minor, but just role play with me. So you're bothered by it, right? Because you're like, dang, I was right behind her. She knows I was behind her, but she still let the door go. And you're kind of trying, and how the brain works. We're trying to assess the situation, depending on the person. But I feel like I'm talking about the average person. I'm not talking about somebody who's just going to be mad. I'm just saying the average person may just be assessing it like, dang, I wonder why she didn't open the door. Maybe she didn't notice I was behind her, but did she? And if she did, like, all these things are running through our head. So you come up to me and you say, you didn't hold the door for me when I was behind you. Or even if you don't say it that way, because that tone alone could sound kind of aggressive, right? So even if you came up and said, you didn't hold the door when I was behind you. So apparently I feel like I would just been like, my bad. But the person coming up to me and just saying you to me is automatically like, what? Like, what you mean? I didn't even know you was there, and then you go, you're doing the back and forth. But if that person walked over to me and said, hey, Lene, I felt a little, I mean, I guess you could feel disrespected, because isn't that's considered disrespect, right? If somebody was behind you, or rude. Okay, rude. It's not rude, disrespectful. I mean, I feel like they all kind of the same, but, you can't feel rude. So you can feel disrespected though, right? So you could say to me, hey, Lene, I felt disrespected, when you didn't hold the door. Now, saying the you there is fine, because you're starting the sentence off, letting me know how you felt, and then letting me know the action. Whereas a lot of the times I learned in therapy, when you start with you're already telling me what I did, even if I know what I did. This is positive talking. This is communicating in a positive manner, expressing what you felt by the person's actions without attacking them, or without, hopefully you get what I'm saying. Because obviously I'm not a therapist. I can only talk about what happened when I was in therapy. So I don't want to use wrong words and somebody come for me. But basically, so the person says to me, hey, Lene, I felt disrespected, when you didn't hold the door for me. And then now mind you, if I'm a regular, nice, everyday person who don't want to be rude, I'm automatically first thing, I'm gonna apologize, because it doesn't even matter if I meant to do it or not, right? Because I feel like sometimes